it is combining both things.
Yeah.
It's a concept. It's
Yeah.
concept only. RAG system, that
Okay.
the RAG pipeline we can generate based on our own, based on our use cases. But RAG is just a concept, right? It is
Yeah.
concept, it's combining both things. That is clear, right?
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah, that
minute
is
things we
yes.
can maybe I will complete explanation. Then we can discuss. That is still, if it is not answered, but as of now, I'm asking about whether that concept, what is retriever, what is generation, that part clear, right?
Yes, yes, that is clear. Thank you.
So basically, it is language models by grounding that I will. But if I increase volume, is it disturbing to you? But it's automatically reducing.
This is fine.
Okay. So, so let me explain that shortcomings. I was in shortcomings of LLMs, right? It is very, very important to understand that part so that we can understand the entire thing. So here I would just, but actually three things, three problems with traditional LLM model. The first one is hallucination. We always know that we already know from various things like LLMs can hallucinate. Hallucinate in the sense generating incorrect or nonsensical. If you ask something, it will be giving irrelevant. It not only irrelevant, sometimes even it will be giving completely incorrect. Few days back, like 3-4 days back, when I was going through Reddit discussions, I came to know about one discussion. How many D's are in August? So I just tried, and for me also it was giving a wrong answer. Previously, that day it was showing 2 D's are there in August. That is what hallucination. Sometimes it will work. Sometimes here it's saying that there is 1 D in the word August, right? It's completely wrong, correct? It is from
Yeah.
Gemini. It is from Gemini. So we are talking about a lot of latest things about LLMs. They are fed with millions of lot of powerful millions of parameters like that we are talking. But still, fundamentally, there the count number of D's word. There is 1 D. Sometimes it is say 2 D's. I tested with various things. Okay. So it is we need to understand this fundamental problem. That is the very, very dangerous or risk LLMs. This is obvious one. We know how many D's are in August. If it is something complex that we don't know the actual answer, that case also we will be fully relying on LLMs. We will be start believing that kind of answers, right? So that time it will be very dangerous. This one we obviously know the August has no D's, so we can say that LLM is hallucinate. But in all the cases we cannot do that, right? So it's very important thing. And for that, some prompting tricks are there. You knowing about prompt engineering, right? Prompt should be concise, be clear. It's providing like mids and some format, output format. Similarly, like a lot of techniques like chain of thoughts and one shot, like that kind of techniques are there, right? So one such technique is chain of thought. In that case, we can ask it like count it step by step like that. If we add the keyword step by step, sometimes it will start working. Say when yesterday I tried, that time it started working properly. Saying as no So now it's saying there are no D's. Previously it was saying it's one D, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it is that step-by-step keyword, that chain of thought prompting will be somewhat useful, but still there is no guarantee that it will always tell the correct answer. So for very very simple things, even school children can easily count how many days are in August, right? So for that answer, for that simple question itself, it is not able to tell the correct answer, and even it's not able to mark it something like it's suspicious. It is believing that it is correct answer. In that way only it's telling. It's not having any option to say that double check. Overall, we need to understand that overall whatever response we are receiving from LLMs, we need to be very careful about. Okay, their hallucination very important thing. That is the reason why we need to learn about RAG. Okay, so the LLMs are very powerful. They are trained with a lot of information. They are very fast, and they can understand our languages effective way. Like that, lot of advantages are there for like LLMs. Recently, new LLMs are coming with tensor parameters and context window also. Context. So they are very powerful, but still they are fundamentally subject to hallucination because of their inherent nature. It is not against their design. They designed in that way only because fundamentally, though we are calling it as artificial intelligence, there is no intelligence there. Artificial intelligence AI, that up to this latest things, all AI models or approaches, algorithms, architectures, everything is like fundamentally in case of LLM or any kind of similar things, it is like predicting next token, that kind of thing only, not about cognitive. It's not working based on our brain. Okay, our brain is completely different. So our same brain can work any kind of thing. This general, right? So that is what researchers are working with AI also, generating some kind of or creating some kind of brain like thing. They are naming it as AGI, artificial general intelligence. Whatever right now we are having is narrow AI only, weak AI. So we need separate system for each and every different task. Cannot use the same model or same algorithm for different kinds of tasks. So fundamentally it is not having that cognitive ability. Basically it is working like predicting next token. So the advanced things like transformer models that are used with GP and latest terms, they are able to consider many tokens when they almost parallelly when predicting next token. That is why they are working in an effective way. So that thing is helping to increase the process speed or somewhat increasing the accuracy. So overall performance is somewhat better. But the fundamental operation is still that same concept, predicting next token, not cognitive. Okay. Somehow magically predicting next token, that concept working in effective way with the transformer. It is able to generate articles, poems, everything, generate effectively. But fundamentally, it is predicting next that way. For example, if you are saying that limited knowledge cutoff, then yeah, obviously it will be trying to find what should be coming next. Like in our simple aptitude test, if you provide 1, 2, 3, then we will be writing 5, right? So 6 means it will be 8. Like that, fundamentally, it is predicting next token, next thing. A token is, you should be knowing about tokens, right? AI. Are you
Yeah, yeah, vectors, embeddings, and all those things. Yes, yes,
okay? So tokens are just seeing the words.
yes.
So fundamentally, it is working based on predicting next. There is no cognitive. So that is the reason why they are hallucinating. If they are trained with enough data related to what we are asking, then they will be able to generate a general. But if the training relevant data is not there as part of the training model, then instead of saying that I don't have data or I don't know or something, it will be generating because that is the purpose, right? That is what generally we use generative AI for writing stories. That stories won't be there during training, so it is generating the story. It is creating poems, new poems. That poems were not part of training data set, and it is creating coding. That codings were not part of training data set. So the fundamental design is generating things. Obviously, when we are asking something like say example, if you are asking what is the capital of some non-existing country, it will try to generate the capital name instead of saying that country is not there. So that is the nature, right? So that is how currently that is inherent nature of the LLMs. That's how that current all AI kind. So that is the very important thing we need to remember, hallucinate. So if it is working in this way, even if it is not able to count number of days in August, August, and even it is not knowing that it is wrong answer, in that case, it is very difficult to it in commercial set, right? We cannot use it as it is commercial. In that case, we need some mechanism. That's how RAG on. And other issues is LLMs are obviously it cannot handle private information. But normally for any kind of business operations, it should be uh, having the ability to handle private information. If a e-commerce site is looking for AI-based chatbot, pure LLM-based chatbots are not useful because they useful for interacting with customers in an effective way from NLP perspective and natural language. For that purpose, it's okay. But for giving answers about any specific products, LLMs are not useful because that data won't be there with the LLM. Even if that e-commerce sites product details are available with LLM through some kind of like some search engine might have indexed that information, and that data might have used for training the LLM. In that case, okay, it will be having that information. But the problem is that information mostly that will be outdated, right? The product information that e-commerce owner will be keep on updating that data. Pricing will be changed, or they may be giving some offers, discounts. So a lot of things are there. So in that case, that LLMs lack private information, and they lack latest information. They won't be having latest information. Each and every model is having knowledge cut. RGB. But if you see the documentation, we can know. Just I'm asking. 2020, almost more than 1 year back. So to ask something here about last 1 year events, that LLM powered by which powers this chat GPT, it won't know about anything about that information. Okay, lacks private information, it lacks latest information, it is subject to hallucinate. So these are all the three major shortcomings of any system. They are really very big thing, especially hallucination, very big issue. Private information, it is very record one. Only the companies, businesses can start using for their actual. For other things, for fun things, for for simple things or very non-critical things, LLMs are okay. But for critical applications, especially financial technologies, fintech, and medical field, LLMs cannot be used as it is, right? and moreover they lack latest information also. All these three things are very important thing. uh, because of these reasons, LLMs cannot be used with business operation. So we need to find some solution, right? So that is where RAG. So RAG provide up to date information and including private information. Can private information and hallucination also, it can help reduce hallucination somewhat, because hallucination occurs when the data is not there, right? Data is not there. If you are asking capital of any, and if you are asking about what is the capital of India, it will be able to tell that answer correctly, because that training, as part of training data, India's capital is Delhi, like that. It got trained, so in that case it will be able to tell. If the data is not there, it will start generating. Normally hallucination, it is very unpredictable. Normally the main reason is lack of relevant data. So that is why we are saying that RAG can ground systems with the external knowledge to avoid hallucination. I mean, to reduce hallucination to some extent. This fundamental thing clear, right?
Yes. Yes. No, no, that's clear. Thank you.
Over. How does RAG work? Basically three things. One, we are getting the query from user. User ask, say for example, in case of e-commerce site, customer support, he may be asking about what is the price of product A. In that case, normally if we directly ask LLM may not be having the answer. Instead of saying that I don't know, it will be telling randomly, telling like some amount, like 1,000 rupees. So in that case, that reliability of that kind of system. So what RAG will be doing is, one part is input and the next is retrieval. So the retriever, that part, that is taking the relevant information from the knowledge source. This is our example. That knowledge source can be the uh, price database or some document. If it is there in some catalog kind of documents, it will be searching for product A, means it will be searching that product A document, and it will be getting that document, and it will be taking that as context information. And the third part, generation. Generation will be done by including that retrieved information, that is context information. So we are retrieving that relevant context, right? That context will be sent along with the user query to the LLM. So the generation will be now grounded because it has the relevant information. So it will be creating the output based on the context information. Is the overall process. Maybe I will explain with the diagram. That time it will. It's visible, right?
Yes, I can see.
RAG, now people are coming up with different lot of RAG techniques, and even when I was RAG projects, I needed to come up with my own way of like arranging that. Call it as a RAG pipeline, right? So that is somewhat complex thing. Complex means it's purely based on our use cases. But from learning purpose, RAG is very simple. RAG is the, how to augment the generation, retrieve that context. User is asking a query, how to the relevant for that query, that that relevant part of that prompt, then prompt is sent to LLM. Very very fundamental. But that retriever, that thing, normally if general text based things, lot of things are there, BM5, vulgarity, FIDF, that and all there. But they will be slow, right? Normally we are talking about RAG in it will be normally millions of PDF files, millions of page. So that case, searching something, finding some relevant text from there, then like that will take more time. Just the search itself, it will take a lot of time. So that is why now whenever we are talking about RAG, people are talking about vector search. Vector search is like it is embedding, like the documents will be stored as embeddings. Query also will be converted into embedding. The search will be done based on embedding. So here embeddings means just numerical numbers, right? Array or matrix. The vector database, like a lot of different vector databases are there, like Pinecone. Pinecone is a managed cloud-based database. Simple vector databases like ChromaDB, open source databases, and Facebook is Fires. Lot of different kinds of vector databases are there. Each and every vector databases are having its own advantage, disadvantage based on the use cases. And the key thing is even PostgreSQL, that kind of common databases can also be used for storing the embeddings, PG vector, that kind of plugins. But for testing purpose, just to understand that, even I just tried to store the embeddings in just a CSV file, and then I did search just for my understanding. Then also it will be working, but it won't be giving the just because some people who are learning about embeddings and vector, that they will be thinking that it is something complex, something, right? So just to avoid that kind of things, I just tried like just to I taken one word and converted into embedding using comma and put it in file, and again another word, like similar like the words I and file, and for searching another word, I selected that same embedding model and uh, did a search within the CSV file itself. So at that time it was working. But that is not the actual purpose of embedding, right? So embeddings normally they will be multi-dimensional. So for fitting that data, optimum thing is vectors database, because that vector databases support multiple dimensions. So the numbers are stored in multiple dimensions. That the search will be happening very quickly. Up to this part, okay, right? Questions?
No, that's clear. I'm good.
So it's a very fundamental of RAG. But normally, I will be talking about practical. Practically, the main part is like splitting the document. Here, I am saying that we need to find the context, right? First of all, before going in detail, first of all, we will be getting one question. Very common person who already learned these things, not be but whenever someone is hearing about that hallucination, the latest in private information, that kind of things, so normally the obvious solution is, okay, we have some data, means we can send the data along with our query. That's because if you use the chat GPT, if you upload the files along with the chat GPT, chat GPT is going to give the answer based on our document. That will be the common thinking of any person. That is actually true. We can just send the documents along with our query to the LLMs, and LLMs will be able to answer. That time in that document, if you are including private information, if you are including latest information, it will be handling that private information, and it will be considering the latest information because of the nature of like fact of ourselves sending the relevant details, that LLM will be giving a response by grounding, right? So in that case, hallucination also will be somewhat avoided. But the problem is, in case of sending the documents along with our query directly to the LLM without implementing RAG pipeline. Say, for example, if there are 20 pages knowledge source, and if you are trying to send all the 20 pages, old LLM models won't be taking that things, because their capability, all the LLM models are having context window limit. Okay, they can suppose if the context window limit is something like latest models are coming with millions of tokens. 300, 500. But old previous models were able to handle very limited 10 pages. So in that case, we cannot send all the pages for uh, considering tag. But that was very old. But as here can handle 128, right? That case, okay, 300, 200 pages means normally simple companies will be having that much documents. In that case, they can use it. But still, people are suggesting that we need to use tag. Even though technically it is possible to pass all the documents along with without tag, still one major problem is we have to pay for that token usage. That number of tokens will be more, so we need to pay a lot of money for the API usage. It's one obvious. Another thing is the LLMs can work better only when they receive relevant information. Of getting a lot of information, if they are getting relevant information, then they will be working better. That is what common observation. But there are some other discussions also there. Some people are arguing that the latest models are efficient in processing a lot of information. But fundamental fact is, if it is getting relevant information, then it will be working better. So that is the reason why we have to implement RAG pipeline. We are having some 100 pages, sending only the relevant pages. Say for example, if you are having 100 products, and each product is in one file, and based on the user query, if the user is asking about the product C, then it is better only when we send the document or details related to product C along with the query to the LLM, then the LLM will be considering that context information product C, it will be answers about products. Practically we have to split the documents in multiple chunks. This is a document example. Other cases we have to implement accordingly technology. So now a very common example is documents, mostly normally PDF documents, but any document we, or even text doc. First, we can consider all the process in and split it into sections. One is we can call it as one time or offline. Another is regular or online. Here the offline processes or one time processes. First, we have to collect the knowledge source. For example, commerce. You have to, in case of our, assume that you are providing um, customer support for insurance policy company. So it should be having policy documents about various 25 policies, and each policy has a document, policy document. Then we have to collect all the 25 documents. Document will be having 100 or 50 pages, right? So first we need to collect all the PDF or put it in one folder. Uh, then we need to split the document. That is what called as chunking. That chunking is a very Theoretically, it is very simple thing, but based on my personal experience, it's very important. The chunking also, even I put. But for your audio, no problem, right? You are able to hear me, right?
Yes, yes, I can.
Talk maybe. Uh, there are different chunking strategies are there. Actually, better to try chunking or do the chunking based on our use cases. But libraries like LangChain, they are providing standard splitters. So fundamentally, we have to split the document. That is the case of RAG. We have to split the knowledge source into multiple chunks, and we need to send one the relevant chunk. Relevant in the sense relevant to the user. There is asking about particular product that chunks related to that particular products have to pick up, and we need that is what augmented session. We have to combine the query, the reviewed chunks, and other than that, system prompts. System prompts can be like just we can ask the LLM to use you like say system prompt maybe like something like this. Use this context information to give answer for this. Basically, in this augmentation thing, system prompt query relevant chunks. Context chunks here means context. Here in the practical things, we have to first put the documents and we have to read them with chunking strategies, suitable chunking strategies. Out of the very different kinds of things there, everyone will be coming with their own way of simple thing. Say for example, we can just split based on the pages also. Each page can be one, or each paragraph can be one, or like a standard thing is normally like number of characters are based on number of lines, and in case if you are splitting it based on number of characters, the common practice is we have to give some overlapping also, that some sentences will be breaking down, right? So to handle that kind of situations, normally we used to provide overlapping. For example, the chunk size is 400, normally we overlapping as so that that 50 characters from the previous chunk again they will be appearing in the next chunk also. That part clear, right? That overlapping.
Yes, yes.
So that is one simple example. Like a lot of things are there. It all based on our. Uh, and again, I wanted to highlight one thing. Initially, I said right, we are going to more importance to hygiene. It is better to know the basics of all the things related to basics of because somewhere I noticed in some Reddit discussion somewhere, one person tried his best to do this chunking with the different strategies. Okay, but he was saying that all the strategies were failed. Finally, he someone suggested him to like take that as a consider this as an image instead of considering as text. Actually, it is basically text, though it is text like because text arranged in like table format, it is difficult to split it, right? If we split it based on rows, that meaning of column, that reference will be vanishing, right? So cannot split it just simply first 5 rows one chunk, second 5 rows another chunk, like that we cannot split. Uh, so in that case, if we consider it as a whole thing, like normally human beings will be seeing like this one, right? We are seeing one tabular column. We will be seeing referring the column also, right? Column and the row header, column header, and that meeting point will be giving the information about both column and row. That is the common understanding about any table format, right? So in that case, normal chunking won't be used with sentences or a paragraph or like pages. All those uh, approaches failing. So in that case, that person mentioned that considering it as image and doing image embedding and comparing it as image search, that helped him to solve a lot of issues. So what I'm trying to say is, if you are familiar with computer vision, like normally people will be thinking that computer vision, learning them, it's a big thing, right? Maybe research related things, coming up with the new kind of architecture, that and all, okay. But using computer vision is very easy only. Like YOLO models are there in case of our OCR, test track, that kind of models are there. They are very effective, very user friendly. We can simply implement. That is why I highlight. That is why I asked my other course, just to get some understanding about other fields, related fields. Here, so normally, generally, we will be using as a text. Text should be split into multiple chunks with the help of that different chunking strategies. It can be that it can be done like paragraphs. Paragraph will be page can. First, we get to do the chunking. Then here I am talking about that one time or offline task. Okay. In case of this online offline task, first we have to prepare the document, and then we have to do the chunking, and then we do the embedding. While doing chunking, say for example, if it is ebook, and it is better to include the author name and the title of the book in all the chunks, right? So that kind of processing also we have to do while do the. Just splitting is not enough. Some kind of metadata, including metadata, that and all like important. So it's all based on the use cases. There is no one size fits all approach here. Purely based on use cases. But the fundamental thing is, in case of this offline thing or one-time process, we have to do the chunking in an effective way according to our case. And the next step is we have to do the embedding. Embedding, a lot of different models are there, similar to our generation models. Embeddings also like different models, NLP are there. In case of OpenAI, it is providing different embedding. Sentence transformer is providing a lot of embedding. But the thing is, if you are using one embedding model here for doing the embedding, you have to use the same embedding model for doing the embedding of the user query also. In that case, some people start using OpenAI model for splitting the document. Then, because that is one time, right? So one time payment means they will be making. After that, like if the customer queries are coming, like every time they need to pay for the embedding, then they will be going back to free. In that case, again they have to do the offline. Embedding should be same embedding should be used for embedding the document as well as for embedding. Here you are using OpenAI's embedding. Then again here also for user query also it should be OpenAI's embedding model. Here you are using transform free model. Here also you have to use the same model. That is one important. For all processes, have to do the embedding of that doc embedding vector data. While doing that, we need to, like every vector database is having its sub rules, some ID, some and all that we have to, the Python code we need to handle those. Uh, Basically, it is like storing the embedding. You have to find code as one time process. Time process means we are calling it one time. Policy documents are getting updated. Then here we need to update. That is what here in case of traditional LLM only architecture, we cannot update the thing. But here, if something is happening newly, we can update. If the company introduces new policy, then we can include here and we can update that doc embedding. After that, the overall system will be able to consider that information. That is the main advantage of RAG. But disadvantage is it is like unnecessarily the search process, right? So reducing the speed, latency. So here as a process, it is, as I said, a one-time process, that offline process. Document fit into multiple chunks, and that chunk should be converted to coding data, the vector database. Normally, in the usual process, like it's a real-time or regular process. Here, the user will be sending the query, right? User, that user query should be also converted into embedding. That is query embedding. That query embedding searched against the doc embeddings, that is vector search. That because of this, both doc also in embedding format, query also in embedding format, so the search will be fast. So that is the reason why we are seeing the power of RAG. Otherwise, if we are going to do traditional like text search, then millions of documents searching them and using our customer support or somewhere, it's not possible. Because of that vector things, then only the RAG is possible. That is why everyone is associating vector search with the RAG. But normally, the fundamental RAG concept or the basic definition of RAG, that vector search or vector database are not required. Just we have to take the context information anyway, when it can be BM25 FIDF, that kind of simple text-based search also. But that will, if the number of pages are increasing, means that approach won't be record time, right? So that is why that vector databases, they are very powerful. Not only that speed, vector databases are including semantic search. Are you familiar with semantic search?
Not exactly, but yeah, I little bit. But if you can explain, that would be great.
Semantic is normally like anything, right? It's the alternate name. Yeah, I am talking about Chennai means it can represent Madras also. And if I am telling about RAG means it can represent retrieval augmented generation. It's common, like uh, synonyms and abbreviation, like something like a human, as a human we can understand, right? Similar way, semantic search. In case of keyword search, it is literally text based, right? Semantic search in the sense, it will be including the meaning. Like for example, for all the examples related to these kinds of vector embeddings things, we telling the same example, right? King, case of king, queen, the palace setup. If the document is talking about king and queen, in that case, king and queen are related, right? And the palace is. But in case of the document or the context is about mattress companies selling beds, and their king, queen, and that bed size, mattress size will be more relevant of palace or right. That case, here while doing the embedding, that kind of information will be considered. So in case of creating that numbers, that is the beauty of embeddings. That for testing that, I just checked with the different symbol examples. They are really very wonderful thing. So if I am just creating embeddings of three different and after that, if I am just asking about Chennai, it will be just returning that Madras without additional. The embedding in itself, it has that ability. That is that while assigning the number, it will be if they are related words, that numbers will be very near. If it is assigning Chennai 1 means Madras will be 2, like that. Just for example, I am telling, but it will be in multiple
Got
dimensions,
it.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
It will include history, lot of other things uh, from different contexts. That is the purpose of multi-dimensions are playing important role. Not only name, other dimensions, size of the city. The two cities are like language. Some people are cities based on the uh, people's language on that for that city. That kind of cities will be associated nearby. Just I'm telling as an example. So like that, multiple things can be considered while creating that weddings. Normally, if multiple dimensions means, it will be good like that. But again, there are embeddings in the sense sparse embeddings, dense embeddings are there. Sparse embeddings in the sense it is like if you go through detailed example about that, it is very simple thing only. But the processing may be difficult, right? If it is, for example, it is like normally embeddings will be done like first they will be sort out all the letters. Case of document, they will be taking all the letters, unique letters, and assigning one number, and then they will be counting that how many are there, and for each word they will be like assigning some kind of numbers. If it's there means they will be putting 1 or 0, like that. So it is raw format of embedding. That is pass embedding, but handling that will be a bit difficult. Normally, dense embeddings will be vector databases for effect. So basically, that are all internal things. So which they for us, we need to understand the basic things like how to like set that number of diamonds. Like say for example, if the vector database is having certain number, just for the example, simple example I am telling, if the vector database is having 5 dimensions and you are creating embedding dimension with 6, there is no meaning, right? So that kind of fundamental understanding we should be having. Like go with multiple dimensions, that case it should be supported by that vector database. Because if you feel that your embedding model selected by that number of dimensions are very appropriate for your use case, then you have to choose the vector database accordingly, be supporting all the dimensions of the embeddings. A lot of different vector databases are there, Pinecone, that thing. But normally, all the vector databases internally they will be having built-in embeddings also. But it is, as I said, it is better to take the full control. Like we have to do a lot of research with our own way of embedding, which embedding is for us. Then we can use that embedding. That will be useful for when we try to change the vector database. That is. So it is normally known as workflow. Normally, whenever I discuss about track, people are asking normally how will they ask whether it is agent kind of thing, because though involves a lot of complex things also, but it is very simple pipeline, but lot of different things are track tech. But there is no problem from audio side, right? Audio perspective, it's okay, right?
Yes, 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 yes,
Release change, it is slow. The slides also you are able to view properly, right?
yes.
So there are different techniques are there. We have to lot of ranking, processing, all based on our use cases. There are certain things listed by many people, but beyond that, we need to think about it to make use of that RAG pipeline for our own. We have to come up with a lot of research, but the fundamental thing we need to fundamentally it is like that one. Augment context information. For doing the retriever, the vector database will be effective in terms of the perspective of speed. In that case, we have to use the same embedding for document as well as convert the use and the search. Normally, question search, retrieving top K results, top two can set K as 3, and are based on our use cases. Can use top one, or some people will be doing re-ranking. First, they will be taking approximate 10 results, top 10 results, like that. Then they will be doing re-ranking. They will use another model to sort that results, and then they first one. So there are such a lot of pipeline arrangement really based on our use cases and that performance, how it's or whether we need accuracy of our expectation. But fundamental concept is that is very simple. As I said, the first thing is how to augment the retrieve context. Basically, we have to provide context information. Without context information, it is hallucinating. Private information, how to include that private as context. In case of latest information requirements, we have to include that latest information as context. That is where RAG concept is. But to increase the speed, normally whenever we are talking about RAG, we are using vector databases. The speed in major projects, mostly people are using that. That is paid on, right? For demo, I will be transform. But okay, for this, your assigned in project very important, like from technical, but other like costing, that is very important usage, because this document that one time process embedding continuous that fact. Apart from have to pay for that embedding usage for every. So for that, lot of other tricks, cache is there, some weak cache like that. And recently, a lot of people are talking about CAG also. Have you heard about CAG? CAG?
No, no.
So because as I said, that LLMs are now coming up with a huge context window, right? So obviously, now people are thinking that why we need all these vector search other things, because it is unnecessarily adding a lot of a delay, right? It has to search it, and in case of re-ranking, it again need to ranking. A lot of processes are there. People are thinking that why we need all these, because now the LLMs are coming with large context. So they are just like trying to send the entire documents, all the documents along with. But just to reduce the token usage, there are some they are just pre-processing. They are taking all the documents and they are building up KV cache like that value. The documents of raw format, they will be arranging in key and value, that kind of pair document converted in that format, and it will be stored in memory cache. So after that, for any query user is asking, that query and that in memory data will be along with that some prompt. That final prompt will be LLM, and based on that case, we need to have that retrieval process. For retrieval, it is like our case RAG, we are augmenting the generation with the retrieve by retrieval augmented. In case of CAG, instead of retrieval, we are augmenting with the cached data. So that is cached. Based on our use cases, there are 20, 25 documents, then that approach better, because we need to of that LLM use. Here we have to use LLM usage or adding based on the our use cases and how many documents, whether we need it. Questions in this diagram?
No, that's fine.
In the diagram only, I will go component tag, which is large knowledge or relevant narrator. Knowledge. So components. Applications of RAG, a lot of it. Almost as I said, want to avoid the hallucination, if you want to include the private information and latest information, all these scenarios, RAG should like question that, but like answer chatbots and context content. So again, advantages, like whatever advantages we track can be advantages, access to real time or hallucinate, combines the best. Limitations, again, it depending quality of the knowledge source, not update knowledge source. We need to be careful at knowledge source. Be working based on the knowledge source. Quality of the rack system, quality of the and computationally expensive, because it because additional time it and for that we for models, because that one time offline process also there also we have to spend embedding. I try to load right now it comes. Able to read
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
There are different chunking strategies, but normally the frameworks like LangChain. You're familiar with LangChain, right?
Yes, yes.
There you can see a lot of details. But the concept here normally you are coming up with some strategy. That strategy is not supported by LangChain. We can create our own code, right? That's why we have to explore different strategies. We can apply the suitable one on our document semantic chain. Because some people are suggesting because now everyone is talking about agents, right? So as part of that, so that is why agentic AI also like similar to agentic AI, agentic RAG also there. So there also we can include the power of that planning, can include some agents for choosing multiple databases appropriate to. Case of chunking also, we can create LLM based some small agent chunking based on our. But if you are going with these kind of things, again, that LLM usage will be more token use cost will be. So to try to do everything in a full way, not working in that way. That person, lot of received it right.
Yes, yes.
Maybe you can. Yeah, they provide a lot of approaches. Actually, some people are providing it as service also. They're coming with frequent use cases and create is cloud based. We can get the API. It is matching with our use case. But normally works or any and businesses, we have to create or come up with our own framework kind of pipeline, make it more effective. For that, though we can use LangChain to save time because in case of LangChain usage, we can easily change the LLM part or the vector database, right? Use a LangChain framework or library in our coding. If you want to change the Pinecone vector database instead of Pinecone, if you want to use ChromoDB, within few minutes you can easily do it. If you want to use OpenAI LLM instead of Gemini LLM, you can easily do it. But if you do everything with your own coding, then you need to spend a lot of time to make sure that LangChain frameworks helping us. But but what I'm trying to say is we shouldn't be locked with their own way of. LangChain is providing 4 5 splitting approaches. If our use case needs something, we have to explore like creating our own coding without using frameworks. That is possible, and that will be more. Anyway, LangChain is open source, so there is no risk. We can just go code and we can have our own. But we shouldn't be restricted with that kind of limit. Here they listed some technique, right? So we shouldn't be thinking that okay, these are the only technique. We can come up with our own technique. Code readable or
No, I can read it.
right? Here purpose is like folder PDFs. There I put PDFs. Start with this, add more. Reading all the PDFs for importing the for step 2 converting chunks. Here I am using character text from LangChain and step 3 for creating embeddings. I'm all mini storing it in the files. Here creating the chart model and the rag chain. You're familiar with prompt template other things, right?
Yeah.
Got one question like what the prompt template? It's like just like a thing kind of stuff only, right? Uh, got that question. I as a blog post. You are also having that kind of question. Actually, I got this question. Normally, when I started learning about prompt template, I thought, okay, we can simply use Python, right? Do you have any idea a unique advantage of prompt template?
Yeah, so I mean, I just checked that where we can give the input and context, everything into it as a template, and then user can ask questions particularly into it.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm wrong, but
yeah, that is the purpose. But the same thing can be achieved with symbol f string also, right?
yes.
So that question I got, and RGB. It's reasonable.
Mhm.
Still advantages, not the things. The flow is very simple. Because of the chain format, that runnable concept, it is now become mandatory. You are familiar with the runnable concept of LangChain, right?
Which
Runnable,
which concept?
runnable. Normally, for creating the chain, chain is uh, it's like a Lego brick like that. We can arrange it, right? That is the simplicity of.
Mhm.
So for that, input of one component, one component is giving one output. That output should be compatible with the input of that next component, right? And next component's output should be compatible with the input of the next component. Then only we can just connect and like a plug and play kind of connection. So for that, because naturally it won't be like that, right? One output may be string, another may be that input may be expecting in numbers. So in that case, the conversion should be happening. So in that case, we cannot just plug and play. So in that case, LangChain is having that concept runnable. That will convert all the uh, components into that common runnable thing. And if it is runnable, we can just connect any number of chain. When we can change the order very simply, we can do that. The format. So basically, for us, explain this RAG is taking PDF files from converting files. For charting LLM, we are using prompt template. So it is like the creating the actual thing, right? Here we have to say that system prompt is you are a helpful AI assistant, right? So you have to provide the context to retrieve the context. Next question is user input. Here in the diagram, augment it. Basically, only three things like context and creating. Will for the retrieve part, we have to converting chunks. Coding part clear, right? Overall.
Yeah, yeah. I'm clear with it, but I just want to look at like once the prompt template is set, where that user is passing that input and where this the context is from the where I mean which line of code is helping to get the context of it, like where we
Yeah,
are passing
that
that context.
yeah, that if it manually we can do that, but in case of that is the limitation of LangChain. So we cannot do the debugging other things here. Cannot see the flow because it's a chain, right? Here we are just using LLM and prompt. We are passing prompt. The chain will be taking care.
Uh, okay, okay.
Because I first started with manual coding, so that time I was able to clearly understand because it's a step by step process. But once
Hmm.
after I, because many people started using LangChain, I also started using LangChain. So there we cannot see it
Hmm. Hmm.
because it's the
Got it.
chain. We have to create all components. We have to include that. It will be taking like uh,
Okay.
that is the concept.
Got it. Got it.
It is some from some perspective it is very one advantage. We need not worry about how these things are doing that things. But if something is happening wrongly for doing debugging, it is very difficult. But
Correct, correct.
for that, that also I did analysis. Find that one. I added on blog post of how to. But common way is, but after that, now everyone is talking about Langsmith, right? The Langchain, the same company is providing Langsmith
Mm-hmm.
troubleshooting. For
Mm-hmm.
that, they all the
Yeah.
logging details will be there. So we have to check there. But for that, we have to get the API.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
But in this case, I struggled to bug something. That time I around decorator. Same concept is Langsmith. But we can do it manually also. Have you ever tried coding without LangChain?
No, no, no. I have used LangChain only.
LangChain we cannot do the debug.
Yeah.
Then I think we can do. Same thing you understand, right? Without doing these kind of chains, first we have to
Mm-hmm.
put that and again for doing that, we have to again convert that tree into
Mm-hmm.
query embedding again. Then we have to call for that. I use separate function get embedding like call it all the chunks, and again for the query also we have to use step by step we have to do that. And turning the top care here we can full control, we can manually can change it top the can put lot of options. Here also if you go through the full documentation of LangChain, they may be providing that kind of stuff, that settings and all, they will be providing that option there, but the flow, understanding the flow, they are restricted. But it is the advantage, that is what they are promoting. Advantage, right? We need not worry about them, that we need not do it, create the components and we can just can create the
Got it.
summaries based on our requirements. We need not to worry. But one problem is that LangChain is they're keeping on updating their documents. Sometimes like matching the actual our version. Understand? They're very.
Hmm.
That step by step of content. Have to remove all these files. Again, in that case we have to start from here. Files also LangChain, right? Clearly we have to change.
That's fine. I think we can move forward and
And
look at the.
got the point, right? Because of the
Yeah,
chain
yeah,
concept. Because of the chain concept, we cannot.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Got it.
For that, they are providing solution as LangSmith.
Mm-hmm.
Providing all.
Mm-hmm.
But while I was searching for that, they explained something. We can use some decorators, something, right? Because internally LangSmith is working in that concept, right? You have to use some decorators. Got the point, right?
Yeah, yeah, I got it.
Fundamentally, like how LangSmith, same thing we can try. Somewhat tedious. That previously, I previous API key, by default it will be taking. We need not provide any. But if some other, but testing this is very challenging one. Sometimes that if setting is not happening properly, cannot get the right. You are familiar with that kind of that is if you are face that kind of problem. You are having chance to you can understand about different kinds of chunking strategies. Can you frame some other,
Mm.
or you can send one document we can include here and
No, that's fine. I think we can pick it from here itself. Uh, yeah. Uh,
To understand how it's working, right? Because someone like I actually personally faced that kind of person. Thinking that once we set up everything, if we like ask like counting other things like how many that and all it cannot process. That you understand, right? Not
yeah.
is just splitting that thing, and that relevant chunks will be sent along with the
Mm-hmm.
they're providing some kind of invoices or task, sum up all the things. LLM can do the sum, but for that we have to relevant context. That is where the challenge in RAG optimize for retrieval LLM. Got that point right? It's very important.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Query is same. You that some queries will be working better in case of retrieval. The keyword rich, giving the relevant information. But some queries will be best for generation. But like we have to use the same query for both. You cannot control the customers. Like you have to ask in this, right? We need to make it both cases. That is the real challenging. For that,
Mm.
we are
Got it.
having processing. The customer's usual queries are not performing process. You have to do some kind of pre-processing. Different way to like a lot of things. One capability. What are the problems we have? Well, if both the documents are having asking some randomly come that is where while doing ranking we have to add details. That part clear, right? Talking
Yeah,
about
that is clear. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
very simple version, but real thing, lot of things. The question, just it.
No, 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 that is fine.
You are familiar with LangChain, right? LangChain powerful framework. It is around LLMs, LangChain, but it is more suitable for only for the workflow kind of thing. RAG is workflow. That time I started telling about, right? RAG is basically workflow only. Involves a lot of things. It's at the end of the day, it is just a reactive one, not proactive. Work only when the query, then it will be a response that have by it's a very very simple workflow kind of. For this workflow kind of applications, LangChain is more one by one. Each step will be like embedding of chunking, one first document collection, right? Then chunking. After the chunking one, we are going to do the embedding. After doing embedding, we are going to store in the vector database, and again we will be getting the search, and after getting the search, that augmentation prompt, then the prompt will be the LM will be the response. Again, it's like a step by step process. So in case of RAG, it is purely step by step linear kind of workflow. So for that thing, LangChain. But if it involves any kind of like agentic for other things, LangChain not suitable. For that, LangGraph other. But anyway, both can be used. For simple things, we can use LangChain. For other purpose, LangChain uses LangChain provides a modular set of tools, instructions, handle process, prompt template, memory management, chains, multiple also are calculated for RAM. So it's providing a lot of components. LangChain, they provide all that. For simple example, I would like to highlight about this other type. Of this chatbot, you're familiar with chatbot, right? LLMs are basically stateless, correct? You know the fundamental, right?
Yeah.
But in case of chatbot, we have to maintain some kind of state, for the previous question. Say, for example, if you are asking about what is the capital of India, then asking about tell about its population. In that case, it should be referring to New Delhi only when it has that context. Either it should be stateful, or at least we have to maintain the context. So for maintaining the context maintenances, we have to send the previous questions whenever we are sending the LLM. For that, normally we will be keeping kind of send along with that. That's how it's working, right? But in that case, we have to create like this. We have to create some or manually after again that information. So it's like manually we have to write the code. But if you LangChain can just LangChain buffer memory. You can just get conversation. So that will be taking care of all the things. But again, the problem will be there. We cannot debug it manually. Putting the memory and it will be giving that memory details, but we cannot, suppose wrong, we cannot debug it. This is what that runnable. We create runnable in this way, like a prompt pipeline can connect multiple components. This part clear, right? The conversation that saves a lot of time.
Yeah.
But it is for very simple thing, as I said, it is function. But in case if LangGraph, that is like a lot of memories are right, like like similar to our human, have different kinds of memory, right? In case want to copy paste the OTP, that we will be just remembering that number few seconds only. After that, if someone asks that number, we cannot. But that particular time period, we will be remembering. I'm typing, right? That kind of short memory, and some memories like episodic memory, right? We will be associate kind of places. Okay, these happened when I was studying this, like that. That kind of memory we will be having. So whenever that incident comes into our picture, that place and year or that kind of additional coming in. So that kind of memory and long term, like different kinds of that kind of memory is provided by LangGraph. Here it provides us like buffer. The chains pipes can chain multiple like a brick. For that the runnable, and other than that we can use simple calculator. But for work, say for workflow, but agentic have knowledge kind of lot of multi-agent LangGraph. But anyway, it's provided by the same company, right? That case it can. And in case of RAG, LangChain provides a lot of classes. So mostly LangChain is for RAG like that, because RAG is optimized. LangChain cases, LangChain manage pipelines, summaries, or handling context. Customers that takes LangChain. It is questions. While LangChain modular connects LLMs external, handles and multi powerfully. But my suggestion is, if it is not required, better we can without libraries, getting libraries and they will be frequently changing the, we have to accordingly. And again, troubleshooting will, but it is for RAG, it's okay. But in case of agentic AI, advanced things, there are a lot of steps involved, right? So manually writing Python code from scratch is difficult in that case. LangChain, LangGraph, some kind of these are the architecture different classes from template conversation government. In case if you are keeping it, the user is keeping on asking many questions, sending all the questions along with that will take a lot of tokens. Sometimes even it can exceed the context switch. In that case, as conversation summary memory. We are not using this library. Normally, what we will be summarizing the previous questions, and after start, then we will summarize it. That things will be automatically handled by LangChains as conversation during the conversation record. When to use LangChain multi-step all AP start parts with any questions about LangChain?
No, that is fine.
So we talking about reactive. It will be programmed thing. They have any kind of autonomy. Like it's kind of programming only. Now let us. AI agents are very AI agent is an LLM powered system. AI agent, if you are using that LLM, then you're- but RAG also LLM, but that is just workflow. But this system that can observe, think, act. LLM based system is here. Then call it as observe in the sense observe a normal or any kind of, and it should listening of memory and act it take actions. For that connected fundamentally it should call this uh, act act and that gives kind of autonomy. It's actually doing, not just a task. What is a agent is system that can comment, make decisions, take actions. Unlike simple those agents interact with it is respond to dynamically. Our can act with up to the example for AI. Imagine an AI that reads your email. You are getting an like, can we meet at 3 p.m.? That can check your calendar, calendar. If time is available, like yes, available, adding to the calendar. Yes, perceives, read the email, right? Not part of actual email is coming to, right? From there, and it is checking the availability. Here it is able to understand, right? Can at 3, able to understand that talking about calendar and we need availability. That is the core, something able to the reasoning. They need to available, and it is acting, scheduling the but anyway, though it is saying all the reason, but it's kind of workaround only, not cognitive. That I fundamentally not cognitive. That right, LLM finding the concept one. But somehow that agents kind of work. Basically, okay, that is the completely different topic. But in case of AI agent, the normal, the reasoning, act. Here in this example, we are getting one said that check the calendar, and then best calendar action following all this area. Call it as AI agents are now a lot of people are that people are able to lot of time because single agent cannot do much, but in case of agentic AI, multiple agents can be orchestrated. Okay? In that case, like task powerful. Real world use cases, customer support, search, and calculation. So, in case of customer support, if there is a need for doing search or doing kind of calculation, for example, customers are asking about um, price about any particular product, it can search the product documents, the calculation. Customers can calculate the cost, some kind of calculations or tax, and it can tell the final answer, right? That will be right kind of customers. Whereas in case of like actors, that these things are not possible. Virtual assistants for scheduling, example, whatever we kind of assistant can manage the calendar, data analysis, Python data analysis can create Python codes, uh, analysis. Otherwise, we need to have separate developers. That kind of that is why the AI agents or agentic AI are able to replace the human. Otherwise, like other systems cannot do that. But in case of here, they are able to reasoning also, right? Somewhat like more or like uh, human actual development. Bank of New York has appointed that kind of AI placing the employee access to hierarchy also. That is the reason. That's a key AI development capability. They are able to, but with the help of LLM only. That means fundamentally LLMs are not cognitive, right? So kind of workarounds only can work in some city, but mostly for normal works it is tolerable by trying to automation. Agent framework core components are LLM of that, and prompt React means their or you can tool normally for doing the actions. In case of agents, but in case of agentic, that is where LangGraph is sanction can get that age. These are the common things. That means as acting prompt guides further. When to use agents depend on the context. Multiple responses involve not ideal for simple. It's always keep it very simple. If there is no need to involve this kind of stuff, better we can go with. But if it involves these kind of things, like it involves its decision, context, multiple are involved. These scenarios we have to use about intro example, right?
Yeah, no questions.
We're able to go through the code, right?
Yes. Yes.
Sites here we for actually case of this, here it should be connecting with some external weather providing services. For simplicity, I just hard coded this fake weather. Here, hard coded. Actual step is connecting with the here calculator, asking about. There are two calculators, and here we got to the case of tools. We got to provide that description is very important. LLMs will like appropriate tool. You are familiar with tool calling or function calling, right?
I mean, I know how to do function calling, but not tool.
So both are same only tool call function. But in case of tool calling, function calling, related to LLM is different. Here that LangChain framework is the latest LLMs are provided that function. There we got to send it in a different form. LangChain also we can do that. That is LangChain highlight that part. That's but tool calling, function calling, that interchangeably we can use. It's very simple function, otherwise solves other things. But what major difference is like tool calling done by LLM, tool calling managed by LangChain. LangChain advantage is we can do it for kind of LLM, right? But in case of like LLM based function calling, how to provide it in that part. And some old LLMs won't be supporting in our use case for us. Format is but fundamentally and the LLM will. And normally people will be thinking that LLM will be executing, but LLM won't be doing that. That you are clear, right? Calling
Yes, 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 yes.
beginners be tending to confuse that. Here the LLM have to provide the available tools. Other tools available. Just we sending that list, tools list. LLM will be based on our query, based on its response, whether it calls something related to that tools. If it is able to that tool, then it will be framing that function call. Want to execute like choosing the function name and it arranging the argument. Here it is city means location means it will be from the query. It will take the city name and it will be passing just like preparing the function. And it's our part application handle that. Example here we are using LangChain. LangChain we are defining the functions for LangChain. as I said, the description is important, but the actual placing the LLM again, place agent, the important part of LangChain. So it is a very simple. Just we have to initialize the agent. It will be taking a past the values. That is LLM. So here the short segments where we are detect that kind of short. Very simple code. Get the agent,
Yeah.
but every
Mm.
it's saying that entering new agent executed chain. I need to first to find the temperature in Delhi, calculate the score of the thinking, right? I need to. We haven't provided any detail. So the action is it has all the get weather tool, and the action input is that the argument is Delhi. From the question itself, it selected that word, the function argument, and based on that requirement, it selected this get weather. Solution is the current temperature in Delhi is 35 degrees. That value by executing this action, but that one we just hard coded. That part okay, right? 35, right? But if it is a real thing, it should be connecting with the current temperature in Delhi is 35 degrees. Yes, and it's thinking like thought process is I now know the temperature in Delhi is 35 degrees Celsius. I need to calculate the square root of 35. Just ask to calculate the temperature square root of the temperature, right? And the square root of the temperature. The thought process is I now know the temperature in Delhi is 35 degrees Celsius. I need to calculate the square root of 35. So now the action is calculator and tool has to call, and the action input is square root of 35. But it's getting error name square root is not defined. Then it's thinking I made a mistake in using square root. I should use the correct syntax for calculating square root using the calculator tool, action calculator tool. Now instead of using square root sqrt, it is now using 35 to the power of 0.5. It's giving the answer 5.9. So now the thought is I now know the temperature in Delhi is 35 degrees, square root of approximately 0.9. Final answer is temperature in Delhi is 35 degrees Celsius, and square root of the approximate final is 35 degrees. Doing everything by itself, calling the calling another function continuously. Okay. So now I need to find the temperature in Chennai, calculate the get weather underscore Chennai. The current temperature in Chennai is temperature in Chennai is 32 Celsius. I need to calculate the score of 32. Action is calculated tool. Now it's calling a calculated. Action input is square means 32. 32. The value of I now the temperature and the score of the temperature. So final answer. Yes, score of the temperature. Turning that not available. A pure LLM, that case it will be telling some random number. Rank chain.
No, no, that is fine. We can go for MCP, I think. Yeah.
MCP it is important because now we have a connecting with two becoming very powerful. This in our sample coding just hard coded the temperature, right? Because it involves a lot of work. Find some I need to document for doing the sample, right? That involves some just a hard coded. But something similar to this, very if I'm able to easily connect with, I might have that thing, right? That thing is I created this back. But if MCP, we can create MCP server is there for connecting with other API freely. Then we can easily use by MCP button rule. In that case, we can connect with different API. For Chennai one API, I can connect with different API. Connect a number of that I can accurately get a lot of relevant. So the in case of development, like agent and the things are already somewhat established, and only thing is we have to connect with more to external data. So in that case, connecting with that kind of external and external that involves a lot of work from coding perspective for connecting with. But in case of MCP, after MCP is just a protocol, it's not any kind of thing, just a protocol only, just a standardization. So MCP is standardizing the connection between the A like a client, the MCP. So it's a standard thing. The MCP server can be easily connected to the application. But again, it's additional step only. Fundamentally, if we see like from pure technical perspective, it is additional step. So that we have to do that actual that kind of like tedious API connection also. But the beauty is that can be done with who are expert in that thing. For example, only that in the same example, that API connection connecting to weather service providing company. In that case, in our case, we have to go through their API documents and we need to work accordingly, right? As a AI developer. But in case of MCP server, that should be done. It's not completely eliminated. But that person who created that service, they can provide MCP along with their documentation. They can provide MCP server. That company is not active now. Any third party person can create, who are very interesting in doing that, or who are much familiar with that thing. They can do the MCP server creation. So MCP server creation, that involves some work. There is no question about it. But as a AI developer, but because that is one time work, right? If one API, whether API has MCP server, whether it's either created by that company or some third party, that one MCP server is there, means any number of AI developers can easily access that MCP. Because the connection between MCP server and the client at the AI application or AI, that is standard connection. That is standardized now. So that is why we are calling it as like USB, something USB for case of previously we have to use, right? For example, for connecting, what we have to use this for connecting LAN, we need that kind of drivers. Everything will be somewhat different, right? So in case of USB, after USB, you can plug and play is an interchangeable connecting device accessory, right? So ESP made it simple. Same thing here. Because of that, now everything MCP, that protocol was launched on last year by Anthropic. Here, that is, they highlight why MCP matters. For that, normally they are highlighting this. It is solving n by m in challenge of their tool. That means in case here now we need to suppose 4-5 LLMs are there. We have to connect with say for example 2 LLMs connect with 3. So connecting, say for example we are creating one AI application, same that AI agent we already demoed, right? In that case I used Gemini. Instead, if you are planning to use another LLM, that case, if that LLM has to connect in a different way with that third party uh, API of third party service provider of that weather report service provider, then we have to write the coding again, right? And similarly, instead of using that service provider, if you are going to use another APIs like weather reporter, then again you have to change the code. So that is what they are calling is n by m, for n number of side. If we have n, other side m, we have to ultimately have n by m integration or multiplication. That much in case of coding, it is that much of functions we have to create, right? That kind of connections we have to establish. This MCP approach is solving that, standardizing the connection. So it is now n plus m like that. And moreover, it is adopted by major players. That is the problem in case of any standardization. Case of some fields, that kind of understanding won't come. I heard that in case still IoT standardization is not yet happening because each company is proposing their own way of standard. But in case of this agents data connection, for that most of the major players like OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, many vendors, they agreed with this. A lot of people are using. That is why if we switch for MCP servers, we can find lot of marketplaces connected. Lot of we need not do the work again. We can just use the MCP. A lot of MCP market. There we can find lot of market. start using. But for easily for using it, we need to have Cloud Desktop. Do you have Cloud Desktop? Have you tried this?
No.
True for easiness, but for coding we can for anything. AI application we can. By default, all the almost cursor everywhere now we can just connect in. There are two different things. One is using MCP server, that is very, but creating MCP server is what different. That difference is got right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lot of MCP there, so anyone can easily start using. But it creates a lot of other problems also because of so people start using some random MCP servers. There because of that, lot of hacking issues, security issues, lot of privacy problems, lot of problems are there. So a lot of criticisms are there. Irrespective of all criticism, major players accepted this, but maybe they will be improving it further. It will be further standardized coming days. But as of now, it has lot of issues. So we need to be very careful in using any third-party AMs. But the standardization is among the client and server only. That is standardized. But if it's server, it can itself can have a lot of security holes. For using it, simply we have to use Cloud Desktop. Yes, we can create our own lot of vibe coding. Architecture, that three. Are you asking something?
No, no, no.
Architecture wise, MCP client, MCP server, okay, and MCP host also there. Host is like that host application can be the cloud desk for cursor or our own AI application host. So within the host, we have to create MCP for calling it. So basically, MCP client and MCP server are the major components. The MCP client resides in the LLM or the orchestrator also. So it is just for connecting with the server using this communication protocol on RPC. So MCP server is lightweight microservice expose data function. As I said, MCP servers, creating the MCP server, we have to do all the hard work of connecting to the third party services connection. That is a normal thing. Okay? But connecting to the MCP client and the MCP server is now standardized, just a plug and play. If you are having a lot of MCP servers, we can easily connect to that server. Just we can add that, start using their service. Supports bidirectional. Yes, secure in the sense client and server is secure, but we don't know about MCP server, right? So that security an RPC call is client, and client will be getting in the LLM server that will be connected to purpose of example for. There's now a lot of almost all the, and we can just use have cloud desktop, you can directly use that. One simple example, if beginners, the simple example like of chat GPT itself, we can have the search to everything, right? We can just add, right? Clearly, we cannot any tool. The power of here they already provided the close connection, made the connection, so we are able to the tool, and Gemini also we have the option, right? But in case of this cloud desktop, it is allowing us to any kind of such tool have that for that particular, for using the thing. First you have to add the pre-built file or whatever service, the cloud desktop. I have haven't tried this, not supported. Normally this auto handling, I used to go through a lot of videos, that auto handling discovery, that and all very effective only. Once we start the thing, it will be like if one particular a particular server can have multiple tools or multiple, it will be listing everything. We can choose the appropriate one and start using. Example, server fast MCP, that lab, that will make the job very very easy. Want to create library, we have to use decorator, we have to use decorator, we have to depend and we have to add this here. And then we have to run that. For running the MCP server, we have to run MCP run. And there are two different ways. The server can be run at HTTP, like web. In that case, we have to and or STDIO standard in also in the same instance can use that way. But in case of this web server, HTTP transport can access it from any. Got the point, right? Just we are defining the functions, right? For simple example, I created add and multiply. So similarly, we can create in case of our API connection or something. Here we have to do everything. Yes, you are adding MC, get weather. Here we have to do everything. Here we are planning to connect with some weather.org. There, okay, you have to establish everything. It is something. Case of server creation, you have to do all the traditional way of doing. There is no escape from that. But what the key thing is, once the Ms are created by anyone, we can just use that. have to create the client by connecting to the server endpoint. Server provided HTTP, right? IP, right? Path MC. Just by creating the client, it will be connected to. Then we can add, ask it to add it, finding that function from that server, and it will. Oh, got the point, right? We need not define that things client. That will be taken care of server. So if you could like consider everything in the same machine, we will be bit confusing for beginners. Like again, why we need this kind of thing. But the actual scenario is here it is our AI application. We will be using it for AI. The client will be, and the server will be in like created by some other person. Be like third party people are also running the some other server, completely physical server. And we need not worry about anything. Want to do something, know the server address, we have to just provide it here. We have to create the client by connecting server, and we can use the methods or tools provided by that server. Here we just connected to that server, and we are just calling this, right? Got the point, right?
Yes, yes.
Started this. So here the server can be at any location. Got that, right? Starting and transport. Client is that you are. It can be from any machine also. But since the IP is, if you are using static IP, right? 32.
Yeah.
Sub add or multiply, you can have any kind of multi there. So we need not worry about what we have to. It will be here we have to do all the hard work of connecting to other external source or doing any kind of processing. Once we are exposing this by here, like running this here, and if the client is able to connect, client will be able to connect with providing that URL, and then it can use any function. But like there is no use of like doing this, right? Actually here LLM will be calling that function, that agent we noticed, right? So if we are asking about some additional, then it will be calling that function. Internally, like we again calling to the server. We'll be knowing the real power when we understand the use case. Here, if we are if we hard code it, we will be thinking that we can do everything here also. So here the thing is the your real use cases, it will be handled by LLM. LLM, if suppose it is is countering something related that kind of functions, and if it is not able to do by itself, it will be calling that function. That function will be there even if it is there in the MCP server, that can be called. That MCP server will be connecting to the external data and or external. So ultimately, LLM will be able to use the external data and it act with the external. That is the core point here. Any questions?
Got it.
Got it, right? But Lang, not read this image was there in Lang color or
Mm-hmm.
there in the Lang chain. It is the concept of knowledge graph. It's like normally nodes and edges. That graph concept is in here. Simple example. A node, a person can be a node. Place can be a that connections between that are called nodes and edges are the fundamental of graph. It is graph knowledge like it can be hierarchy. Sort of example here. Added haven't say Paris one. Here the connections are like Lily is friend of James, right? James who has visited is painted by Da Vinci. Da Vinci painted. Da Vinci person in Da Vinci painted like that. It's a lot of connections. Got that core message, right?
Yeah.
I was going through one video to explain, try to explain this concept. They related this with the fundamental change happened with search. Search before Google, there were a lot of other Google search like search engines were there, but they are just
Mm.
like literally they are searching the keyword based. Okay, so the major thing Google, you know about backlinks and page rank, right? Are you familiar with those things?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly same thing. That time itself, though we were talking about these graphs, everything now, actually the core change was done by that time itself because of that PageRank concept. PageRank also something similar to it. Instead of just previously, everyone was just using backlinks. How many backlinks? That thing, even some low quality irrelevant pages also having that kind of backlinks, right? So in that case, Google introduced that PageRank concept. That completely changed the things. Suppose one content is there related that specific content, then that will be giving, or it is endorsed by some other reputed thing, then it will be getting more values. So it's not absolutely thing related to other thing which are powered by or evaluated by connection with some other things. So it's based on connections and node. Got the point, right? So that's how Google became very famous because of that page rank only. Same concept is applicable for now agents also. That is the fundamental of this node edge. To understand this node and edges to that graph. So knowledge graph also, knowledge graph, and right, the right side bar. Familiar with that, right? Apart from Wikipedia information, it will be giving some structured information. That also graph knowledge, they call it as knowledge graph. That is the fundamental of graph concept. In the RAG also it is there. To our regular RAG, because in the regular thing we cannot establish connections and relations as related things. It's without with some weightage. But in case of that node concept, it is the weightage. To understand it, it is better to start with recognizing the power of page rank, that algorithm. So if we are able to realize that, we can easily understand this part also. That is where that LangGraph concept is there. But that and all okay. But fundamentally, that LangGraph, that thing is maintaining the state. Always start with that. Advantage of LangGraph is state. So because of that thing, we will be able to manage multiple agents. The orchestration can be done easy. I will here in this example F F that a graph should be like it has to start with a node and it, so that's the connection should be there. So all these things we can see it as a graph also. LangGraph, that library is having that option of say as a graph, the connection, their relations, you can see it as a graph also. If you run it from Colab or something, you can see the graphical thing. Since I am going to run it from command line, we as just a dotted line, that kind of. Let me find about the first. Here from LangGraph, we are importing the state graph, runnable LangChain for the runnable, and this for LLM. Here we are setting up Gemini as LLM. Here we are creating agents. First agent, research agent. Second is summary agent. Research agent will be finding answer for that, and summary agent will be summarizing the answer. Got the overall picture, right? So this is the nature of agents, and that power of orchestration. We can implement different agents, and we can work them collaborative. There are two agents we are creating. One agent is research agent. So here we can see at state. We have to pass the state. State is the centralized thing. Generally, state is memory, but here it involves a lot of things, right? Multiple agents has same memory. Are you calling it state? Better to call it thereafter. Otherwise, for understanding, we can keep it as in case of context history. We can say that it is kind of state, right? But here it is becoming very complex okay, because it involves a lot of multiple agents going back, time travel, everything, right? So in that case, that is the reason why they are keeping this state graphs separately. LangGraph has that function, that method or class. So here we are just asking what is LangGraph. That will be there in the state, and the summary agent will be taking from the state. It will be summarizing. So at the end of the day, if you ask one question from the application, and it will be giving the summarized. Here we are creating agent 1 just for the demo purpose. Creating agent 1, research agent, summary, and creating the graph. So here we are state graph for creating the graph, and we have to add the nodes, right? So research the agent for purpose of development purpose, we can assume that each agent is one node, okay. But it can be worked with different things also. But normally, so add node, the agent, add node, the agent, summarize agent. As I said, we need to keep it in a runnable. We have to any should be runnable, make it as a plug and play kind of stuff. So that is why we are using this runnable lambda. So we are creating a graph and we are adding nodes, search and summary, and entry point. For any node, we have to give the entry point. Which one is starting point, right? Search is the starting point. We have a search and summary. We should first, right? That is the first starting point. And we are adding that relations or edges. Add edge. Edge means it has to connect two things, right? So research and summarize. So the which one is first, that we provided here. Set entry point. Research is the starting point, and the research is connected to the summary. First we start with the research, and the research output provided to the summary, and the summary is connected to the end. Summary is the last thing. So we are connecting, we are creating the graph, we are creating nodes, and we are establishing edges by connecting, and we are ending end. And after creating these all these things, we have to compile it. It is very important, and we need to use the compiled this compile thing. We have to assign something app here, and we need to get the graph just for understand how the one here have to use graph, and we have to invoke this compiled thing app.invoke the final out. But in tag for getting, thanks for attending, thanks for watching the live. Like this, share it with others. Okay, I'll be like to tell about my recorded AI blog. Here I provided the details. I provided the most probably I will be doing this coming days. Next Saturday, I'll be same kind of webinar for the people who are interested to plan this register. I'll be just updating that link here. I used Here itself I provided a lot of free and I'm offering 50% affiliate commission for selling my us. If you are interested to earn money, contact me. I will add you as my affiliate. Actually, I am doing that affiliate from my other website, rajamanikam.com, Gumroad website. Gumroad is allowing me that like offer. I can set my own affiliate. I set 50% affiliate offer. So it is used for earn money, have good following, or if you are ready to hard work, the relevant people, you can easily earn money. Just 50. I apart from my or I am offering one-on-one coaching also. If someone need any specific about fundamental of AI, computer, or doing any kind of AI application development, you can contact me. I here my blog also I post. Here you can find the details. Thanks for watching. I'm just ask them comments. I'll be